Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Formulating hypotheses or objectives in research. Lecture number 7. Now, as we are proceeding, we are understanding what are the nuances of research methodology. Because now, in the first few lectures, we were only describing about what research methodology means. What are the components of research methodology? But lecture 4 onwards, we have now started dwelling into each of those components in a much deeper manner for better understanding. So, in this, while we are formulating a hypothesis or objective, what are the points that a researcher needs to keep in mind is what has to be discussed. Understanding research questions, hypotheses, and objectives. Research question means that a broad question that guides the entire study. It needs to be specific and answerable. Hypothesis means statements about the relationship between variables that can be tested through research. They are often formulated based on existing literature and the research question. Objectives that are very, very specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound statements of what the research aims to achieve, which is the SMART. S-M-A-R-T. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. They should align with the research question and provide a clear roadmap for the study. So when we are thinking of research question or objective, it should be in alignment with the topic that we have chosen, with the methodologies that we have seen, with the research gaps that we have identified, and then only we can proceed. Steps in formulating the hypothesis. Now let us try to understand how these steps for formulating hypothesis are actually made up and must be followed. Identify the literature problem and the research problem. Clearly define the research problem or question you want to investigate. Review existing literature. Understand what is already known about the topic and identify gaps in knowledge. Specify variables. Identify the independent and dependent variables involved in your study. Formulate a hypothesis. State a clear, specific hypothesis based on the research problem, literature review, and identified variables. Consider alternative hypotheses as well. Ensure testability. To make sure the hypothesis can be tested using appropriate research methods. Write and refine. Write the hypothesis in a clear and concise statement. Seek feedback. Get feedback from colleagues or mentors before finalizing the hypothesis. So, hypothesis must not be confusing. First and the foremost thing, it should be very clear-cut statement or objective which you are planning or proposing for your research work. Research objectives and hypothesis. Research objectives means what? What do you want to do? These are clear, actionable goals. They usually start with a verb like identify, evaluate, or compare. Broad objective, the big picture, is to understand why employees leave TechCorp. Specific objective could sound something like this: the steps to get there, to analyze the impact of remote work policies on staff retention. So many a times the objective has to be very clearly defined. It cannot have any ambiguous words or statement. Hypothesis is if and then. A hypothesis is a specific, testable prediction about the relationship between two things, which is the variable. Null hypothesis means it assumes there is no relation or effect. You usually try to disprove this. Alternative hypothesis means your actual prediction. Higher levels of remote work flexibility lead to higher employee retention. So here you are very, very specific in your actual prediction, whereas the earlier statement was a bit of ambiguity, having ambiguity. So what it means that it is to be very clear, precise, concise in framing the words of your objectives and hypothesis. How to make the objectives and hypothesis strong in research? Just keep in mind the word SMART, because that indicates specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Keep them focused. One objective or hypothesis should only test one main idea. Use simple language. Avoid fluff. If a peer can't understand it in one word, it is too complex. The language also has to play a big role. Unless we look at the language, we cannot be clear if we have any word that is not generally understood by people. We have to be very, very clear that the simpler the language, the better it is. Now look at this research hypothesis, diagram. What are the 6 steps that are actually involved in thinking of a research hypothesis? And this has been sourced from MW Editing. So how do you actually identify the research question? How do you conduct a literature review? Define the variables? Make it testable and specific. Consider the hypothesis direction and formulate it concisely. These are the various points that have to be kept in mind, because these are the ones which actually lead to making a good research hypothesis. So remember that there are 6 steps to it. It's not just a simple process. But once having done that, you can definitely achieve this with great effectivity as a researcher. Step 2: formulating research objectives. Brainstorm objectives. start by identifying the overall goal of the study and then break it down into specific measurable objectives. Use action verbs. Begin each objective with an action verb to indicate the desired outcome. Apply the SMART framework. Ensure your objectives are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. If you follow this strictly, the SMART way of writing research objective, you definitely are a smart researcher. But the other smart is your, mental smartness, and this one is your planning smartness. Consider time frame. Set realistic timelines for achieving each objective. Because when you are writing this objective, how much time do you need to spend on attaining all these objectives? Objectives need not be 20 in number. You can have 3 to 4 objectives in your research plan. But those 3 objectives, each one, how much time do you think? Because you have only 3 to 5 years of time. The last year is anyway gone for settling your thesis, writing your dissertation, etc. The first year is gone in making the research plan, in buying chemicals and equipments, etc. So you are basically left with 3 years of intermittent timing. And that timing is what you have to actually categorize the objectives according to those timings. SMART framework in research. The SMART framework in research is a method used to create clear, well-defined research objectives or goals. It ensures that the objectives of a study are practical, measurable, and achievable. SMART stands for, S stands for specific. The research objective should be clear and focused, not vague. It should answer what exactly you want to study. For example, instead of saying study natural dyes, a specific objective would be to study the effect of natural dyes on silk fabric. So you're making it very, very clear that natural dyes are being only administered on silk fabric and no other fabric. So it's a very clear-cut, specific example. Measurable, M stands for measurable. The objective should be quantifiable or measurable so that progress and results can be evaluated. For example, to measure the color strength and fastness properties of silk dyed with natural dyes. So here you are putting 2 parameters, 2 variables, color strength and fastness properties. These are 2 parameters of a dyed silk sample. And in the course of your research work, you will be actually assessing what is the color strength of the dyed fabric under different conditions and what are the fastness properties of these dyed fabric under different conditions. A stands for achievable. The research goal should be realistic and possible to accomplish with available time, resource, and facilities. For example, studying 10 to 20 dye samples in a laboratory is achievable, while analyzing thousands of samples may not be practical. R stands for relevant. The objective should be important related to research problem or field of study. For example, in textile and natural dye research, objectives should contribute to sustainable dyeing methods, eco-friendly processes, or improved dye performance. T stands for time bound. The research objective should have a clear time frame for completion because time is limited. You cannot go on doing your research beyond 5 years. So, and in the daytime also, you get only effectively 10 to 12 hours to work in the laboratory. So, during that time, you have to finish all your experimental work and finish. So, it is a time bound program. It doesn't have an infinite time. To evaluate the dyeing performance of natural dyes on silk using PEG as an auxiliary within 6 months. So you are putting a time frame also. Within a span of 6 months, how the dyeing will take place is what you are planning to do in your research. And that is the objective that you have actually set for yourself. Now, formulating hypothesis or objectives in research actually involves that formulating hypothesis or objectives in research involves defining the purpose and scope of your study. Hypotheses are tentatively predictions about the relationship between the variables, while objectives are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound statements of what you aim to achieve. So that is the difference between hypothesis and objective. They have different treatises. One is based on smart phenomena and the other one is based on the variables, what can be achieved by changing the variables and what is the purpose of the research. A well-defined research question, literature review, and consideration of existing knowledge are crucial for effective formulation. Formulating a hypothesis requires a specific, testable, and predictable statement driven by theoretical guidance and or prior evidence. A hypothesis can be formulated in various research designs. When we are talking about research objectives particularly when we have to ascertain our objectives, what are the guidelines? Research objectives are specific, measurable goals that the researcher aims to achieve through the study. They can be classified as very general objectives, that is broad goals that reflect the overall purpose, or it could have a very specific objective, narrower goals that break down the general objective into smaller measurable components. Now, what are the steps to formulate these objectives, whether they are general objectives or specific objectives? The first step is to identify a research problem, undoubtedly, which we have learned several times. Understand the context and background, why we want to do this research, because we have found that there is a research gap. Define what the research seeks to find out. What do we want to prove through this research objective? Use action verbs like determine, analyze, evaluate, and so on, and ensure they are SMART. That means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For example, if we have a general objective to evaluate the effectiveness of a new drug in treating diabetes, this will be a very general objective. But if I want to make it more specific, what will I say? To compare blood sugar levels in patients before and after the treatment with the new drug over a 3-month period. So I am giving not only the parameter blood sugar level, but also I'm talking about the administration of the drug for 3 months time and looking at the result. So everything is very well defined into the SMART category. It is specific, it is measurable, it is achievable, it is relevant, because new drugs are coming up for diabetes. And so how we can prove that the new drug, the latest drug, is good or bad or worse, unless we carry out this analysis and this research. And not a long period has been given, only 3 months period has been specified, which means that if the patient shows any kind of measurable changes, that will be shown in 3 months time. We don't have to wait for 3 years or for 5 years or 10 years. So these are the ways in which the objectives are set. You can have a general objective, but the general objectives are often very vague. But when you have a specific objective like this one, then it is very clear that it is measuring only the blood sugar level of the patients who have been administered by this new drug for a period of 3 months' time. Now we're talking, so that was all about research objective. If we have in hand research hypothesis, how do we deal with it? Or how do we go about making a good research hypothesis? The hypothesis is a tentative statement predicting the relationship between two or more variables. It is testable and forms the basis for statistical testing. Types of hypothesis. As I mentioned, it could be 2 types. One is null hypothesis, which is depicted as H0. No effect on relationship exists. Whereas the other one is alternative hypothesis, which is depicted by H1. A specific effect or relationship exists. Now, what is the way to identify whether my hypothesis is good or bad? There are certain characteristics of a good hypothesis. It should be clear and precise. It should be testable and falsifiable. It should be based on existing knowledge and states expected relationship or outcome. So I'll give an example of null hypothesis, which is H0. A new teaching method has no effect on students' academic performance. This is the hypothesis. Whereas the alternate hypothesis, which is depicted as H1, will say the new teaching method significantly improves students' academic performance. That means it is constructively talking about the beneficial effect of the new teaching method. Coming back to again types of objective, we have learned that it could be general objective or it could be specific objective. And the purpose of having an objective is to define what the researcher aims to do or to achieve. Provide a roadmap for the research. help in selecting appropriate methodologies by which I will do these measurable and achievable accounts, assist in evaluating research success. So, if we have to categorize these two, general objective and specific objectives, general objectives are very broad goal or aim of the study, whereas, and it would just, for example, it will be to explore the impact of climate change on agricultural productivity. Now, this is a very broad spectrum title or objective. Specific objective is narrower, measurable targets that support the general objective. Now, the same example could also be written in a specific objective manner by writing to measure crop yield variations over the past 10 years in region X. So now everything is outlined. Very measurably, you are talking only about the crop yield variation over a period of 10 years of time in a particular area, which is exemplified as X. So then the objectives are actually very, very specific in this case. How to formulate an objective? We have seen that it should strictly follow the SMART philosophy, which means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. But the start of the research problem or question, what are the types of verbs that we can use? We can use something like identify, assess, compare, evaluate, and ensure that all these objectives are very, very clearly defined, quantifiable or observable. They are realistic, given into a resource and constraint, aligned with the research question, and are working within the time frame. So if we have these things, we can formulate one of the best research objectives by just keeping in mind. You don't have to memorize these. You have to just think that if I am writing my objective, what verbs should I use? What objectives will be more effective in sounding if I write this way or that way? Now, if we have to compare between objective versus hypothesis in different aspects like nature, type of research, structure, and function, how do they differ? Nature-wise, objectives are descriptive, whereas hypotheses are predictive. Type of research-wise, mostly qualitative or exploratory. These are objectives, whereas hypothesis is mostly quantitative or experimental. Structure-wise, broad or step-by-step goals. Hypothesis is specific, testable statements. Function-wise, the objectives guide data collection and analysis, whereas hypothesis has a frame of statistical testing, which means that we have understood that these two are quite different. They are not the same. They have different purposes to serve in research planning. Objective of research. The purpose of research is to discover aims through the application of scientific procedures. The objectives are to gain familiarity with a phenomena or to achieve new insights into it. Exploratory or formulative research to portray accurate and characteristic of a particular individual, situation, or a group. Descriptive research to determine the frequency with which something occurs or with which it is associated with something else. This is diagnostic research. To test hypothesis of a causal relationship between variables, hypothesis is testing research. So you have different objectives. You could have objectives which are, having a descriptive research. It could be diagnostic research. It could be testing research, and so on. What are the objectives of hypothesis in research? Testable prediction. A hypothesis is a specific testable statement that can be supported or refuted by empirical evidence. It offers a tentative answer to a research question, providing a framework for gathering data and analyzing the results. Guiding principles. Hypothesis acts as a guiding principles, directing the focus of research inquiries and helping researchers design studies that align with their predictions. They provide directions and help researchers avoid irrelevant and unproductive paths. Framework for investigation. A hypothesis provides a framework for investigation, allowing researchers to develop a systematic approach to testing their ideas. It helps in formulating research questions, selecting appropriate methods, and interpreting data. So it is very important that what are the objectives of even a hypothesis? Even they have objectives. What are we trying to prove through? What are the objectives of hypothesis in research? That focus and clarity should be there. By outlining specific relationship between variables, hypothesis enhance the clarity and focus of research by guiding data collection and analysis. Objectivity. A well-formulated hypothesis can provide objectivity to the research activity, ensuring that the investigation is conducted based on evidence rather than personal biases or assumption. So, one has to have a very clear-cut idea as to what are the, objectives of even writing down a hypothesis in research plan. So, if we have to categorize, there is something called research question, there is something called hypothesis, and the third one is called research objectives. A research question is a clear, focused question that guides your research. It identifies the specific aspect of a topic that you want to explore and set the direction of your research study. Hypothesis is a testable statement that predicts the relationships between variables. It is based on existing theories and knowledge and serves as a foundation for testing and validation through scientific methods. Research objectives are the very specific goals that your research aims to achieve. They provide direction and focus help structure your study, and ensure that it addresses relevant issues effectively. Now, this slide was taken or sourced from Scholar Edge because I wanted you to have a good idea about these very confusing terms for a new research scholar. So, research question is very general topic. Hypothesis is a testable statement, whereas research objective is very specific to very relevant issues that one plans to have as a research scholar. Research question. A research question is a clearly defined question that guides your study. It identifies exactly what you want to find out, investigate, or solve in your research. A good research question is specific, focused, researchable, and relevant to your study or the field of study. Now, what are the characteristics of a good research question? It should be clear and focused. No too broad or no too vague. Reachable, researchable, can be answered using data or evidence. Feasible, can investigate, and it should be within the scope of your resources and time. Relevant, significant to the field of real world issues. Original, offers a new perspective or approach ideally. These are some of the characteristics of a good research question that a research scholar must pose to himself. Examples of research question. In science, it would be something like, how does temperature affect the rate of enzyme activity in yeast? What is the effect of microplastics in aquatic life? But if I have to make it more specific for chemistry, I would find something like this. What is the efficiency of bio-based solvents compared to traditional solvents in esterification reactions? How does pH influence the gelation behavior of polyelectrolyte hydrogels, and so on and so forth? So, just trying to give you some examples to understand how these research questions are formulated. Similarly, if you have to write a research hypothesis, what is the kind of wordings that you will be using? A research hypothesis is a specific, clear, and testable statement or prediction about the expected outcome of a study. It proposes a relationship between two or more variables and forms the foundation for experimental testing or data analysis. Types of research hypothesis. I had already told that hypothesis could be null or alternate hypothesis, which are depicted by H0 and H1 respectively. So, null hypothesis states that there is no effect, no relationship between the variables. So, example of H0 would be, there is no significant difference in plant growth between soil type A and B. But alternative hypothesis, which is depicted by H1 or HA, states that there is an effect or a relationship. An example of H1 will be, plants grow significantly better in soil type A than in soil type B. So it is giving a comparative data, whereas in the null there is no effect. So that kind of hypothesis also exists. It is not that it doesn't exist, but the wordings are different. The way it is written is different from each other. Key features for a good hypothesis. Either it should be testable and it should be falsifiable. That means if it is null hypothesis, then it should be falsifiable based on existing knowledge, simple and specific, predictive of an outcome. So if these features are borne in mind, then definitely it is a good hypothesis. Examples of research hypothesis. For example, research hypothesis in chemistry, if it is a null hypothesis, that is H0, will be sounding something like this. Changing the concentration of hydrochloric acid has no effect on the rate of zinc dissolution. That means whatsoever you change the concentration of HCl acid, nothing is going to change for the zinc dissolution. Whereas if it is an alternative H1 hypothesis, it will read something like this. Increasing the concentration of hydrochloric acid increases the rate of zinc dissolution. If suppose we have to make hypothesis in environmental science, what would the H0 sound like? Biodegradable plastics do not degrade faster than conventional plastics under composting conditions. So it is actually having no effect. That is what it is sounding like. Whereas alternative hypothesis would sound something like this. Biodegradable plastics degrade significantly faster than conventional plastics under composting conditions. So it is so much different from H0 and has a very concrete and distinct feature in the alternate hypothesis. The main objectives of research. Now let us try to understand why at all we should have objectives and what are the main objectives of research. Number one is to gain familiarity with a phenomena or to achieve new insights into it, exploratory or formative studies. Number two, to portray accurately the characteristics of particular individual, situation or group, descriptive research studies. Research objectives describe which and what research is trying to achieve and explain why you are pursuing it. They summarize the approach and purpose of your project and help to focus your research. So research objectives have to be very clear cut. What is it that you want to actually convey? Your objective should appear in the introduction of your research paper and even at the end of your problem statement. They should sound something like this. Establish the scope and depth of your project. Contribute to your research design. Indicate how your project will contribute to existing knowledge. So, these are the main purposes of having a good objective for your research plan. Research objectives could be and are of two types, which we have learned just a while ago. We will recapitulate because this is a very integral part of research planning. Research objectives are objectives that are clear, concise statement that define what your aim to achieve in your study is. They guide the research process, help organize your work, and clarify the purpose of your investigation. Types of research objectives we already know. It could be very general objective, a broad statement of an overall goal of the research, whereas it could be also very specific objective, which is narrow, focus steps that break down the general objective into achievable part. So that gives a very clear-cut idea of how research objectives have to be formulated or designed. Key features to good research objectives. The points to be borne in mind by a researcher is that what are the good key features of a good research objective? They should be clear and specific, achievable and realistic, and aligned with the research problem question. And wherever possible, they should be measurable. Then only you can actually make a comparison. If you do not have that clarity in mind, if there is any vagueness or ambiguity, then it is not a good research objective. So clarity, specificity, achievability, realistic, alignment with the research problem or question, and measurability are the key steps to remember how good research objectives are planned. Now, for example, I'm giving you some examples so that you know what is the difference between a general objective and a specific objective. How to write a specific objective. Your case may be different, but the kind of language that is to be used for writing the objectives remains the same. So, for a general objective, the language would be something like this: to investigate the effect of temperature on the swelling behavior of polyelectrolyte hydrogels. Whereas, if it is to be under the specific objectives, it would say to synthesize polyelectrolytes hydrogels using free radical polymerization to characterize the swelling behavior of different temperatures, to analyze the thermal stability using thermogravimetric analysis, which means TGA, to evaluate structural changes using FTIR and SEM analysis. Now, very specific 4 different specific objectives have been written down. The first one was very vague: to investigate the effect of temperature on swelling behavior. That's all. Whereas in the specific objectives, it is very clearly mentioned to synthesize polyelectrolyte gels using free radical mechanism. So even that mechanism is mentioned. Second objective is to characterize the swelling behavior at different temperatures. Third objective is to analyze the thermal stability by using a specific instrument TGA for its behavior, thermal behavior. Then the fourth objective is to evaluate the structural changes using FTIR and SEM. So these are different technologies by which, or spectroscopic methods by which one assesses whether a change has taken place or not, or to what extent the changes have taken place. For example, by field in chemistry to determine the catalytic efficiency of green synthesized nanoparticles, to compare the degradation rate of biodegradable and conventional polymers under UV light. So these are some of the other type of objectives and their languages. This is how the statements are formulated or written down for making a good research objective. Possible types of research objective. Under the category of general research objective, you could write something like this: to analyze the factors of affecting students' academic performance in higher education. Or you can write to examine the relationship between social media use and mental health among adolescents. To evaluate, third could be to evaluate the effectiveness on online learning methods in universities. The fourth one would be to investigate the causes of environmental pollution in urban areas. The fifth one could be to study the impact of climate change on agricultural productivity. These are very general. They don't talk about specificity. Whereas if you have scientific research objectives, then it would be to determine the chemical composition of plant-based natural dyes, to evaluate the antibacterial properties of herbal extract, to analyze the effect of temperature on enzyme activity, to compare the different analytical techniques for compound identification, to investigate the efficiency of eco-friendly dyeing processes. Now, definitely, there is more specificity when we are talking about scientific research objectives. When we are talking about general research objectives, it is a little vague or it doesn't convey the full meaning. But when you see the difference, to study the impact of climate change on agricultural productivity, it is very vague. Which product, which climate change, for how many period of time, what is the parameter of the climate change that you are trying to look at, and so on and so forth. But when you are saying to investigate the efficiency of eco-friendly dyeing process, you are actually taking eco-friendly parameters. You are using natural dyes, you are using deionized water, you are recycling the water after dyeing, and so on and so forth. Everything is embedded in that. It is very, very clear that eco-friendly word itself is making it so specific. Possible types of research objectives. Now, objectives in textile or natural dye research could sound something like this, similar to work related to natural dyeing and auxiliaries. To extract natural dyes from selected plant sources. It could sound like to study the dyeing behavior of silk fabric using natural dyes, or to evaluate the effect of different mordants on color, strength, and fastness, to investigate the role of auxiliaries such as polyethylene glycol in improving the dye uptake, or it could be to compare the fastness properties of naturally dyed fabric with synthetic dyed fabrics. So all these are different objectives of natural dye or textile related research. Similarly, if you have analytical research objectives, then what would be the language like? To develop an analytical method for identifying natural dye component, to analyze dye molecules using chromatographic techniques, to evaluate the accuracy of different analytical instruments in dye analysis. These are the kind of statements that would be used for formulating the research objectives in the field of analytical research. Now, one has to remember, these are of course few examples that I gave you, but one has to remember that that SMART statement which we learned in the very beginning, that is to have very specific, measurable, achievable, and reliable and time bound. These SMART research objectives could sound something like this. To study the effect of polyethylene glycol on the color strength of silk dyed with natural dyes within 6 months. So now it is giving a specific time, a specific material. You're looking at only one parameter, whether PEG, polyethylene glycol, is making any change on the color strength. To analyze the fastness properties of silk dyed with 3 plant-based dyes using standardized textile testing methods. So this is also very specific, and it is under the SMART category. The third one is to compare dye uptake in silk fabric at 3 different temperatures. So you are setting 3 different temperatures of the dye bath, and what is the effectivity of dye uptake is what is your measurable objective in the field of natural dyeing research plan. So, if we have to conclude, we have learned in this particular lecture 2-3 things very clearly. Formulating what is a clear, logical, measurable objective or hypothesis. What is the difference between research question, hypothesis, and research objective? Choosing objectives when our research aim is to explore, describe, or understand a phenomena. Choose a hypothesis when your research aims to test a relationship or effect using statistical methods. Both form the foundation of a strong research framework and help maintain focus, structure, and scientific rigor throughout the study. So that means there is a clarity that these 3 things are different from each other. One is research question, which is a very broad frame that you have in mind, that I will work on natural dyes. That is your research question. But when it comes to objective, then you are specifying each of these objectives in a very clear manner to explore how this natural dye is going to affect the color fastness and the color strength of the dyed fabric under a given condition, given a period to dye. So looking at all this and then looking at the hypothesis, what does hypothesis convey? If you can have either an objective or a hypothesis. But when you are dealing with hypothesis, then you are testing actually whether it will be acceptable or rejectable. And that's why hypotheses have null or alternative. Null is when it is not working. But alternative is when you are actually seeing a change. So that is how these terms are quite different from each other, and they have to be understood in the right perspective. You cannot mix the objective with hypothesis, or hypothesis with the research question, or research question with objective. They are 3 different categories, which means that They are actually focusing on different aspects of research planning. They cannot be confused with each other, so that it is a new set of information that I have tried to give through this lecture. With this, we have come to an end of this lecture. Thank you.